Hey, good Tuesday morning. Larry Sprinkle along with Chris Mulcahy. When there's only two of us, it's pretty evident what we're going to be talking about today on Wake Up Charlotte to Go.
Yeah, and it's not heading into the weekend, because oftentimes on Friday it was like, hey, here's what you need to know about the weekend. So on a random Tuesday, that might mean that it is a weather-aware day.
No doubt about that. And I can't remember the last time we were actually doing this, talking about weather-aware day on a Tuesday,
Yes.
but certainly is. And the time frame really is more as we get to late afternoon into the evening. The potential for some strong and severe storms out there. At the moment, things are okay. I would say more clouds and sunshine, but not a bad start. The morning's going to be okay. Midday's okay. It's just this graphic right here. This is the damaging winds outlook, and that 30%, that covers all of our northern mountain communities. I can't remember the last time I saw a percentage that high for the Carolinas.
Yeah,
anywhere in the Carolinas.
Yeah, and especially the mountains.
Yes.
This is really an outside forecast. And what we've been seeing is every update, because this comes from the Storm Prediction Center, it's gotten worse. This is usually the bullseye that we see over in Arkansas, parts of Texas, and we have been seeing that over the last few days. But now it's in our area, and this is the main reason why we're going weather aware today is just because this potential is so high. So a 30%, that pretty much means about a third of all thunderstorms could be producing damaging winds.
And that's in the mountains. Now, 15%, that does include the Charlotte metro area. So we certainly are in the realm of having some of that severe weather threat right here in the Charlotte metro area. But that 30% of the mountains does indicate that's where the severe weather threat is intense up there. So that's something to be thinking about. Let's take a look at Futurecast. This takes us to about 4 o'clock this afternoon. I think most of the daytime is going to be okay, Chris.
Yeah, and these cells, they're more individual. So I think what's going to happen is one pops up and then they can turn into some multi-clusters. These individually, I think, have the best chance for large hail. So anything on its own, they grow vertically. That's where you could have some larger hail, maybe some microbursts that could be associated with this.
That's right, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, and this is pretty much round one. And also, if some of these start to rotate on their own, you could have an isolated tornado with that. But then what Larry is about to get to, really the main round that the mountains is preparing for isn't really until after most dinners are eaten.
Yeah, this is the time frame we really don't like to see. It becomes late at night, and people sometimes are not aware. I would say please be weather aware. Definitely. If you can't watch us, have our weather app. Make sure you have your cell phone charged up. But that's around 10 o'clock tonight across the mountain communities. That's a line of strong and severe storms, and that tracks across our area. And this is one of the computer models that we use. That would be between about 10 a.m. and midnight right through the Charlotte metro.
Being transparent, the computer models have not been great recently.
Yeah.
So it kind of take it with a grain of salt. I think the general timing with this is pretty spot on with that. Sometimes the intensity is a little bit off. Now, two things are working for us. One, it's bad whenever you have a line of storms roll through during the nighttime. Any tornado possibility at night, that's where they're most devastating because they almost sneak up on you. The other good part, the silver lining here, is the timing. Because mid to late evening, it's not as unstable, say, as the middle of the afternoon. If that line was moving through the middle of the afternoon, this would be a big-time severe weather outbreak.
That's a good point.
So at least we have that working in our favor.
But the severe weather risk outlook does definitely, and quite often, it does not include the mountains. But this is specific to the northern mountains. That would be Boone, Banner Elk, Jefferson, West Jefferson, Ashe, Avery, Watauga, Mitchell counties. Those are the areas that could see some of the highest winds, and not excluding the Charlotte area. I mean, you can have a severe thunderstorm with winds up to 100 miles per hour. It doesn't take a tornado to cause damage.
And I would even say for the Charlotte area, really from Shelby, where you've seen some of those isolated storms popping up during the afternoon, I think you almost have a better chance, because once this line gets to us, it's going to be fairly weakened at that point. So that's why it's that 1-2 line kind of makes this a complicated forecast.
And there you go. Once again, that severe thunderstorm outlook, mainly those mountain communities, and that would be early on, probably late tonight, about 10 o'clock tonight, they could see the strong storms out there. And this right here, this graphic right here, the tornado parameters, and normally you don't see them that far north, the higher numbers, in fact.
Exactly, and the good news here again is these aren't off the charts, but any number here is not good. You want zeros, and just seeing the sign that there is going to be some rotation. It's underneath a low pressure system, and so it's that little curvature on the southern part. That's why we have the highest chance for some of these storms, and I'm really hoping Larry and I will keep our fingers crossed that nothing comes from this, because especially along that line, it could be a really quick mean spin up. tornado.
And once again, we'll take a look at the threat here locally in our area, Charlotte metro area. I think it's really some of those high winds, gusty winds. Winds 50, 60 miles per hour, and maybe, as Chris was saying, maybe some dime size up to nickel size hail even here. Higher hail sizes probably north of here towards the mountains.
Exactly, and it's all kind of where the concentration of the energy is, so that's why northwest you're seeing that bullseye, because that's where it's most unstable and everything. But regardless, you still have some really juicy dew points, and I'll go over to my computer showing this graphic. Whenever a dew point is over 60 degrees, that is where it's going to be humid. But then, Cody, if we can bring up this graphic, this green blob that you're seeing here, dew points get to about 66 degrees. Codemeister, can we bring up the, there it is. Over on graphics 11, if you don't mind. It'll say 66 degrees, and it'll show all that green air. There it is.
All right.
So notice that 66, 68, that's 3 p.m. That's prime time.
Yeah.
That is storm fuel. So any storm that develops during the afternoon is really going to be elevated, but those numbers are still fairly high heading into the evening. You have that strong push out of the southwest, and then once this front eventually clears, you notice that moisture kind of disappears, or it feels a lot better. So today is also going to be a much humid day. So outside any storm potential, it's almost going to kind of feel like it's going to storm, just about how almost humid and muggy it's going to feel. And this is still nothing like what we'll feel during the summertime, but it's still noticeable, kind of like what we had at times during this weekend.
I think with the heating of the day, we get enough sunshine. That's really going to fuel things up as far as the severe weather potential, tornado, hail, and winds. Tornado threat mainly in the mountains up there.
Yeah, and that's something that we don't always have. It's really around the I-40 corridor off towards the north, highest chance for those storms later on. But then again, during the afternoon, don't discount some of those isolated ones that kind of pop up. So a rare weather-aware day that we have a 1-2 punch, and certainly how late it goes into the evening. So morning, early afternoon, think you're fine. Mid to late afternoon and beyond, that's where I think it's game on.
And that's the way it shapes up. We'll be here throughout the day. Brad will be here this afternoon into the evening hours. The whole team is here if there's any really major severe weather threats. So we're working hard.
We got you covered.
Okay.
Your WCNC weather team has you.
Have a great day.